Bienvenidos to Season 3 of Humans in Accounting Podcast. In a world full of AI, automation, and endless workflows, we pause for a moment to focus on the real humans behind the numbers. Founders, leaders, humans share their journey, what drives them, and the moments that shape their path. Because behind every balance sheet, there's always a story worth telling. Humans in Accounting is brought to you by South Offices.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode, to another season of Humans in Accounting. This is actually the first episode of this third season. Where leaders and humans share their stories behind the spreadsheets. I'm Alex Roman. I'm your host, and this podcast is brought to you by South Offices, connecting accounting talent across borders. Today, I don't have one, I have two guests. I'm super happy just to have, I'll introduce Greg Verchick, owner at Verchick Accounting Services, and also Wayne Herring, founder and business coach, business builder account. Greg, Wayne, I'm super happy just to have you here and Humans in Accounting. Thanks for joining.
Yep, great to be with you.
Thank you.
Perfect. The truth is that I met you, Greg. When was it? Like
Intuit
100
Connect
days.
in Las Vegas.
Intuit Connect. That was, I was gonna say 100 days. I don't know why I put that. I measured things in days, but in days. But yeah, it was October last year, so probably a little bit more of 100 days. And I remember we had this great conversation. Not really sure if it was over lunch or breakfast, but we stood there for some time talking and yeah, was it lunch? Was it breakfast?
I think it was either breakfast or lunch, one of the two. It was one of the first meals I had there. Probably was the first meal I had there. And I thought you were an interesting character. I thought I got to talk to this guy.
I agree. I'm definitely an interesting character. But yeah, no, I felt the same. And actually, I'm pretty sure that we stood after we finished talking for a while. I told you about that what South Offices and also in Humans in Accounting. And a few months later, well, here you are, and you invited your friend Wayne. Again, super happy just to have you guys. And the truth is that, Wayne, I don't know you personally. I really hope we will in the future. We just had one call the other week. Yeah, I'm also happy. I don't know. I'm passionate about doing connections, and in those 30 minutes that we talked, it felt really, really good. Tell me, let's start from the beginning. I would love maybe if you can tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing currently, and then I'm super interested in asking you how you guys know each other. Let's jump into that.
Currently, I do small business accounting. I guess you could say, I supervise whoever does the internal accounting at a business. I help them with everything from payroll, general ledger, financial statements, making sure things are reconciled, making sure things look like they're supposed to look like on the accounting side.
Okay. What about you, Wayne?
So I'm a business coach and life coach, and I work one-on-one with small to medium-sized business owners to help them get clear on the vision of what they're building and then help them continue to execute and put building blocks in place. So we do that through one-on-one coaching, sometimes here in my building on a farm in Pennsylvania, sometimes over Zoom. And the other thing I do is Business Builder Camp is a gathering of business owners. Sometimes that's in our weekly Zoom program where I have 6 to 8 business owners who are gathering weekly as a mini board of advisors. Sometimes that is through larger gatherings at outdoor venues where we can have a campfire.
Okay, that's great. And Wayne, I'm just curious. I'll be asking questions to each one, but I'm curious. Do you work with a specific type of industry, a specific type of business owners? Is it in general? Is it? I'm curious. I want to know.
Sure. So I know, of course, that you work with accountants and people like Greg, and that's probably who would listen to this podcast. And I would love to work with them. And I do work with professional firms in that way. But The mastermind groups that I run are industry agnostic. We
Okay.
have a collection of different types of businesses. And I think that industry specific mastermind groups are very important in that you get to talk shop and there are common problems that the business owners have in those groups. Personally, partially what it works about what we do is we really focus on the business building. We focus on how to hire people, how to lead them, systems to bring in. And there is no shop talk because usually like an accounting firm, for example, would be paired with a heating and air conditioning company, a funeral home owner, a chiropractor. And so there really is no opportunity to talk shop about their chosen trade. It causes people to have to speak from a different point of view. And oftentimes things in your industry that are a problem for everybody and that everybody complains about when they go to Intuit Connect or whatever the case may be, if those business owners were to go to a different industry, that industry has like already solved that problem and it's just not a concern. So that's why I like to mix business owners up.
Oh, no, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, I can imagine like, basically if you're someone who's been different industry, something, maybe you can adapt something that you've learned in a absolutely different industry. And you know that you'll be able to solve this now in this industry. So that's
Right.
great. Greg, I want to hear your story, how you ended up building Verchick Accounting Services.
Well,
Verchick
it's a
Accounting
rather
Services.
long story, and it's not a path I would recommend. But we got to where we're at with a lot of help, a lot of prayers, and a little bit of luck involved. So when I was in high school, I had accounting, and I thought it was easy, and so I just stuck with that. I worked a lot of blue collar jobs while I was in college, all the way through, even when I got out of college. And then when I started working in accounting, I loved it. I mean, it was the first time I had a desk job. I couldn't believe people would pay me to sit at a desk and stuff like that. But also I started drinking at a young age too, so that kind of went hand in hand. So for several years, I was able to keep them separate. I would do my day job, and then after that, I would do my drinking, and it got to a point where the drinking started to take precedent, and I wasn't doing my jobs very well. I did bounce around a lot due to my alcoholism, new wife, and everything, and so I learned how to learn different things in accounting, different industries, because I bounced around so much that I learned how to do things on the fly because I was always worried that, I wasn't going to have this job for very long. So I just tried to do the best I can with the situation I was in. But as I said, the alcohol was it only progresses. It never stops or recedes. So it kept becoming taking a bigger chunk of my life. And then that's when I ran into Wayne. I had my son had a first Holy Communion, and I couldn't stay totally sober for it. And that's when I started to look out for help. And I sort of ran into Wayne in a totally unscripted moment. And it sort of helped change my life at that point. And I haven't drank since, and it's been almost 10 years. And during that 10 years, I have built this business to do the work I want to do with the people I want to do it with. And I never had that in my entire life. And I probably should have been dead by now, but it's, it's like I started a whole new life at the age of 43 or whatever. Now I'm 53. So, these past 10 years have been amazing. And Wayne's been a big part of that. Not to mention,
Well,
not just with that, but with clients too. I got one client from him. It always starts out, they don't have an accounting system. They need help. Stuff's all over the place. All right, we talked to him. We'll do something temporary. Well, I'm still with him like 7 years later. So, and Wayne attracts some quality people. Anyway, I'll stop right there for a minute.
No. Thank you for sharing. But I want to go and that was before that. You didn't know Wayne. Wayne was a completely stranger, and he was in the exact moment, I guess, in the right time, and that's when you met him. And well, now you can.
Not exactly.
We kind of knew each other.
All right.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm here I mentioned that clients come here, I work with them on the farm. So I literally had an organic farm. Was the first LLC I ever formed, first business I ever formed was an organic pasture grazing farm. And Greg came and bought a turkey. So that was the first time I remembered meeting Greg. And so he bought a turkey. And then the other thing is he was working at a company, Alex, where I sublet an office from this whole business. And I wanted to have a place to go to instead of working at my kitchen table. And so I sublet
Right.
this office. I had an employee at the time. She I know you do offshore assistant. She was an assistant, but she was local. And so we rented these offices and I would see Greg in the hall. And, we would just have chats about family and things like that. So when I did, he was aware that I'm in recovery and I haven't had a drink in 18 and a half, almost 19 years, thank God. And so he knew about that. So when we saw each other at this graduation party of a mutual friend / family member, and we had that first real conversation where he said, "Hey, I want to do something about this. And I think you're somebody that could help me." We weren't totally unfamiliar, but
Okay.
in that world of, in my world and Greg's now world, and other people have this in other settings in their life, it's one of those things where if somebody needs help, that's what you do in that moment. You help them because somebody helped me. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for somebody in my life named Billy who helped me in a similar way. So it's, passing it on to other folks.
Well, that's incredible. And when he bought, I'm sorry, I stood with the turkey. What was that when he bought that turkey? How long ago?
Probably 13, 14 years ago. So,
All right. So it was a few years later, a few years
correct. Right.
earlier to
Yeah,
right.
we never hung out or anything. We just sort of knew of each other.
All right. And well, that's an incredible story. And again, thank you guys for sharing this. When I started, I'll tell you something. When I started this podcast, Humans in Accounting, I thought that you guys know, like each day it's getting, I don't know if to say if it's better or worse, but AI is everywhere, and we're not talking about the human side,
Right.
and I think it's super important. And I don't know, I can definitely identify, as you guys know, well, Greg can validate that I'm definitely not AI. I am a human being. And yeah, I guess that I wanted just to start sharing this kind of stories with the hope, basically, just to see if we can help someone else, as you mentioned, Wayne, with Bobby, but was it Bobby, right?
Billy. Yep.
Billy, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Billy helped you. Well, hopefully now that we're recording this, and maybe someone in the future, while they're running or they're driving their car, they're listening to this and can feel inspired. And I guess that's something good that we're all doing. So for last time, thank you so much for sharing all this. Let me go back just to the accounting side, Greg. Like, why you decided after this, saying, all right, I'm gonna focus on accounting. You mentioned that you went through a few industries. Was it like there this passion? Was it the type of clients that you had? Was it that Wayne told you, "Hey, go back to doing what you like"? I'm curious how you ended up concentrating and working, spending time and effort and building your firm. I also want to hear that story.
Yeah. So accounting is the only profession that I ever worked in since I got out of school. So when I was working at the various CPA firms, there was a time when I was working down in Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. is full of nonprofits. So that's basically what this little firm did. And by the way, the smaller the firm you work in, the more you learn because you're exposed to a lot of different things. The bigger the firm that you're in, the less you learn because you kind of get pigeonholed into certain parts of the business.
I agree.
When I would go to these nonprofits and I would be doing the audit, and everybody's books were a little different, but for the most part, there was a lot of messes. And I was like, man, I know I want these books to look. If I can coach them into how they should look before we get there, you'd save a whole lot of money, because we spent most of our time not auditing, but fixing up their books. And I always thought in my head, I would like to do that for a living. And it didn't take a linear path that way, but that's where I ended up, you know? So I always enjoyed doing it. I always enjoyed fixing the books to look like what they should look like, so that you can audit them cleanly and et cetera. So now in a different direction is that tax preparers love me. I don't do the tax returns. I get everything ready for the tax preparer, and it takes them a very minimal amount of time, because I worked in CPA firms that we did the tax returns also.
Okay.
So the auditing and the tax return prep. So I know what they want. And so I get my clients' books in impeccable order, that anybody at a CPA firm can pick it up and say, I could do this return in a half hour or less.
Perfect. And I'll ask you the same question that I asked Wayne. Is it like, do you work with a specific niche, a specific industry, a specific type of client that you happen just to be working, or is it, or not really?
No, it's various industries, but the bottom line is every industry has a balance sheet, and every industry has a profit and loss statement. So, but I do have a couple: construction, manufacturing, IT, tech client. So there is no exact kind of industry that I prefer.
I would say your niche, which used to be very free, more of this years ago, is geography, right? So you do have clients that are all within a reasonable driving distance, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I don't go to visit them very often, but yeah, I make sure there is human contact, that I do get to the place of business and I work directly with the business owner or whoever runs the business.
I think maybe it's not niche, but because or niche, depending on where you're at in the world. Alex, Greg and I talked about this off camera. He said because we know other accounting firms like him are listening to your podcast, and we do want to be helpful. He said one of the surprising things is how fast it actually was to build clientele. Like it went faster than he thought, and he had replaced his income and gone beyond it, pretty quickly. And I said, how did you do that? That would be helpful for people. And the one thing you said was it was referrals, but it wasn't just like random referrals. I go back to, I have a business coaching practice, and I know when I hear certain things that people are having a hard time getting their books in order, that their accounting system is a mess. And I know he's like, accounting 911 is what we would say here in the States. Dial 911, Greg comes and cleans up all the messes, gets everything in order. So the niche was also clients who were already somewhat vetted by me in that case, as somebody who needs cleanup and would understand that you have to pay a reasonable fee for cleanup. Was partially how you started. Yes. And now, of course, you've gone beyond that and you have other clients.
Yes, exactly.
Right. But, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have this question. Like, what about if someone who's listening now, who happens to be in San Diego, dev shop, and they say, hey, I want to reach Greg. I'm sure that he can help me out. Would you be able, he could be a client, I guess, right?
Yeah. And to be honest with you, sometimes my favorite work to do is just a conversation with someone who may need a 15-minute talk where I'm not going to charge them. You know what I mean? Just to say, but if you want me to put things in action, then we can start something, a business relationship. But I do just like helping people get in the right lane for their accounting system.
And you do now have somebody in Florida, somebody in Texas, and some of them are doing international work, and you're handling all the different taxes and whatnot.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on with, we have pay people in Belgium, Tokyo, Netherlands. It's really interesting where this career has taken me,
Yeah, well, that's great. You chose, I'm happy that you were able just to talk with Wayne 10 years ago. He helped you, and look how much you achieved. And I'm sure you're going to keep on growing. So that's super great. I don't know how familiar you are. I'm gonna like change dramatically the subject, but I have a few passions myself. I enjoy a lot, I guess, playing sports. I like humor, and unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but I really enjoy eating good food. I've been doing this since the first season, and I'm gonna ask you guys individually this question. I'm just trying to build the ranking of the best food of all the guests that participate here in Humans in Accounting. So I'll go direct with this question. I'm curious, like what's your favorite food? Just
I every birthday, my wife wants me to eat whatever my favorite food is. So it's always either beef stroganoff or Mexican. So she would either make the beef stroganoff or we would go to a local Mexican place. And my favorite Mexican is an enchilada platter.
Okay, but I'm sorry, I'm not satisfied with that answer, and I'm gonna ask you just to pick one. I have just to put a one.
All right.
I cannot go with both. And
I'll
at the
stick.
same time, you can share this with your wife, and you say,
Okay.
"Hey, look, actually, Alex pushed me, and I realized that this is my favorite food." Sorry.
I'll do the Mexican enchilada platter.
Okay, perfect. I'll add one there. And what about you, Wayne?
So I told you I have this farm and I raise a special kind of pig. They're called Berkshire is the breed. And my favorite food is a ribeye, what would be a ribeye steak from beef, but out of one of those Berkshire hogs. Yeah. So they have to be raised right, right feed, right conditions, has to be a Berkshire. And that's my favorite food.
Great. And I want to know in that dish, what do you have on the side? That ribeye.
Favorite thing on the side with a chop like that would be fried potatoes with some warm applesauce on top of the shredded fried potatoes.
I wanna have that now.
When you
Here
come
in
visit,
Argentina.
you can stay here in my building and then I'll make you one of those pork chops.
Okay. The good thing is that we're recording this, so when I go there, I'm gonna just send you this short, and
Can't go back
I'll
on
be.
it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. It's something personal that I'm asking each guest. Wayne, I want to ask you specifically. I've been looking at your website. I want to ask you. Tell me a little bit about rendezvous. I think I'm pronouncing it correct.
Rendezvous.
And, what?
Rendezvous.
Oh, then I'm not.
That's okay.
Incredibly.
RENDEVOUS is
Yeah,
rendezvous.
rendezvous. Incredibly, my mom spent some money, my education in French. Apparently, that didn't work
Not
a
on that
lot.
word.
I also want to ask you about the virtual campfire. Tell me a little bit about that.
Thanks for asking about both of those. So as I said, we gather business owners together and we're trying to create a room or a space where they can share best practices with each other, work through challenges and problems, etc. One of the ways we do that is we have this gathering that we call rendezvous, because in the 1800s, trappers, Native Americans would get together for a rendezvous along the river and they would trade with each other and tell stories and sit around the campfire. So we call our signature event Rendezvous, and we gather business owners for 2 days at a local property that has a strong outdoor element, trails and a lake and things like that. So that's Rendezvous, coming up May 20th in 2026. Virtual Campfire is something that we've created so that friends of my clients, people we care about, small business owners who are sometimes down in the dumps, sometimes having a bad week, can get together every Wednesday, 12 to 1 Eastern US time. We have a variety of guest speakers who come and share the story of building their business, or maybe some area of expertise like nearshoring and offshoring, accounting help, or whatever the case may be. And so would love to invite your listeners to join us at Virtual Campfire, to be on a Zoom screen, and they help create the conversation and ask the questions. So don't be alone. That's a place that you're welcome anytime. And the web address for both of those is pretty easy because it's businessbuildercamp.com/rendezvous or /virtual-campfire is how people could find those things.
Perfect, perfect. I'll make sure when we post this video, I'll make sure just to put those links so listeners can go and check that out.
Sounds great.
That'll be perfect. Thank you for sharing. Tell me. I want to ask you individually plans for the future, like plans we just started or not really. We're already in March, 2026. Well, how's the next few months is looking for you guys? What are your plans? Well, you told me this way, but how are you planning to grow? Well, what are your plans? Tell me.
Business and life or just business?
Business and life. I want to know it all.
Go ahead, Greg.
Business wise, I just try and keep everybody in line where they need to be in accounting wise. I do want to say that it's been nice that each client that I'm still working with, that I started working with years ago, they're all doing a little bit better, at least to a little bit better to a lot better than when I first got there. They're able to read their financials and it makes sense, and they can see where they're doing well, where they're not doing well, where they can improve. Whereas before they were just basing it on how many sales can I get, but there's a lot more to it than that. And I just try and keep all my clients happy with the work that I do. And in the future, I do know that I don't have to worry about finding a retirement job because I'm just, whatever clients are left at that point, I'm going to pick my favorites and just continue on. I can't imagine ever retiring for good because I do enjoy doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't do it for free, but I wouldn't mind doing it as while I'm 80 years old or whatever,
Are you going to grow your company and hire one of Alex's people?
Somebody once told me that the best company is one with no employees, and I'm enjoying that right now.
I'll keep working on him, Alex. I'll keep working on him.
But to be honest with you, I do, at every one of my clients, I have somebody that acts like an employee of mine. So I will kind of supervise them on what they need to do for the accounting portion of their jobs. In that respect, I say, I have employees, but I don't,
No, that makes sense. Thanks, Wayne, for doing that. It's not necessary. I want Greg just to do whatever he wants in order to
Me
be
too,
happy.
Me too, kinda. But this is what I do in my work. I got to turn the screws a little bit on people.
Tell me your plans for the future.
Well, sure. Most importantly, Alex, I just got engaged on Friday. And so Ivy and I are planning to get married. So that is number one. That's why I ask you if it's okay to bring in life, right?
No, it's super important.
That's why I smile.
Humans in accounting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have 4 kids plus now I'm going to have a bonus daughter, which is cool. And so, really important to me is balancing my work with having time to go visit them. Some of them are away at college. I have a son who's getting ready to go be basically a cowboy for the summer and into the hunting seasons here. So family is very important to me. And then business wise, I'm really this event we're creating called Rendezvous that goes beyond my normal, my regular group of coaching clients. I have such a great group of business owners I work with every week on a regular basis. And Rendezvous is a place where we're able to take some of the wisdom of that group and share it with a wider audience. And so I am really excited about creating that event for people that are outside of our current community.
That's great. I think that somehow you both, you didn't say it this way, but I feel that you both share that helping people, it's kind of super, super important for you guys. Again, you didn't say those specific words, but by basically saying in other words, I can figure that. And that's why I super relate because that's also super crucial for me too. Last one, and this is a question that I'll always like just to ask, basically because I'm learning. I want to ask you specifically individually, like, what's a good advice that you could give? I don't know, someone starting their business, someone maybe, a good advice, or maybe some good advice that you could give a younger version of yourself that you want
Yeah, I mean, I could say I I've turned away a lot of work over the years just because there's only so much I can do. The clients come. I was so worried about going on my own. How would I support my family, my wife, my children? And Wayne was very instrumental in that. And now it's like I got so much that I got more. I never understood people that advertise all the time. I don't have a website. I had one, but I took it down years ago. But I enjoy helping the people that I'm with now. But the main thing is like Wayne deals with entrepreneurs. Every one of them entrepreneurs has an accounting system or needs one. So there's a lot of work out there. There is a lot of work. So don't be afraid. But I would suggest that you concentrate on doing what you want to do, because accounting is so broad. There's so many different areas you can go into. But I just generally focus on small business accounting. I'm involved with the payroll. I'm involved with the year-end closing, and I'm involved with those types of things. That's what I enjoy doing. But there's so much work out there. It's incredible, and there's a lot of good people out there too. I I really enjoy the clients that I have, and the ones that have been through Wayne's referral. They're doing incredible. I'm telling you, Wayne's doing some great coaching, but I'm very blessed with the clients that I have.
Okay, perfect. I mean, good advice you can give listeners, maybe someone starting their own firm, not sure if they want to do it, not necessarily from an accounting, from any, like,
Yep.
what could you say?
Sure. Well, you said the podcast is humans in accounting, and humans are important, and you referenced AI and technology. Business is done with humans. And yesterday I had the opportunity to have a guest on Virtual Campfire who has a startup company where he has received venture capital money. He's grown his team rapidly. But I asked him, how did he get his first clients? And what he did was he went to trade shows where his clients would be. He started out with heating and air conditioning and other home service based businesses. And he as the founder who was coming out of a startup incubator, went and talked to the people who were going to be his clients, closed some of the first deals person to person, and he now keeps 10 to 15 of them at any given time who he still allows text, phone access. He still talks to them to keep innovating his product that he has. And very much the same. When I started my business, I told anybody and everybody what I was doing, how I helped, and I tried to help people for free right out the gate. I think so often people start a business, and because of AI, because of social media, because of the messages they're getting from digital marketers, they try to automate everything. They try to they'll do a bunch of social media hoping that people will just come to them. In the beginning, when you start your business, you've got to talk to people. There's very few ways around that, and it can be very rewarding. And I think that's the fastest way to get started and really understand the people that you're going to serve.
Talk to people. Read 100%. Greg, I'm super happy that I decided just to go and sit on that table and Intuit Connect so that I could meet you, and that you also introduced me to Wayne, who is gonna cook for me whenever I'm there that read-by. I'm really looking forward. Guys, it was a super pleasure just to have you here in Humans in Accounting. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll make sure just to put in the comments all your contact information so people in the future can just reach out to you direct.
Yeah, I would be very, very happy to talk with anybody that wants a conversation of anything that we talked about. It'd be fine.
Absolutely.
Great.
Wayne,
Thanks, Al.
Greg, nice talking. Have a good one. All right.
All
You
right. Thanks,
too.
Alex. Take care, man.